I'd like to quickly introduce myself. I am Lovely Vivillamel, and I am looking forward to talking with you today about the crisis in this time of pandemic. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Philippines, I would like to welcome you today. I am honored to address you today on behalf of the Filipino people on the 75th anniversary of the United Nations. The invisible enemy that is COVID 19 has brought about unfamiliar global landscape and unleashed a crisis without precedent. It is the biggest test that the world and United Nations face since World War II. While the United Nations has brought relief and hope to so many countries and peoples around the world, it now finds itself saddled by a virus that has taken many lives and wrecked economies and social order. How we address COVID 19 will define our future. For the Philippines, this means putting up all of the peoples of our United Nations at the core of this response. We will need to ask hard and fundamental questions about the vision and mission that the United Nations conceptualized 75 years ago. We need to ask ourselves whether or not we have remained true and faithful to the United Nations principles and ideals. In the light of the realities of the present, the Philippines grieves with all of the families all over the world who lost their loved ones to this horrible virus. We extend our heartfelt condolences. We salute all frontliners who put their lives on the line even in countries not their own. So also do we honor and recognize the healthcare professionals who selflessly answered the call to combat the COVID-19 pandemic despite its virulence and unknown characteristics. While each nation has its own strategy in fighting in the pandemic, what the world needs are coordinated international plans and efforts to pursue a common purpose. COVID 19 knows no border, it knows no nationality, it knows no race, it knows no gender, it knows no age, and it knows no creed. The Philippines values the role that the United Nations plays in its fight against the pandemic. As a middle income country whose economic advances have been delayed by the pandemic, we welcome the launch of the UN COVID 19 Response and Recovery Fund, ensuring universal access to anti COVID 19 technologies and products is pivotal in the global pandemic recovery. The world is in the race to find a safe and effective vaccine. When the world finds the vaccine, access to it must not be denied nor withheld. It should be made available to all, rich and poor nations alike. As a matter of policy, the Philippines joins our partners in the Asian and the non-aligned movement in raising our collective voice. The COVID 19 vaccine must be considered a global public good. Let us be clear on this. We call for a global health agenda with enough resources and policy space for the World Health Organization. We need a WHO that is quick to coordinate and quicker to respond. The Philippines will do its part in the pooling of global resources. Our health workers are among the best. The COVID 19 assistance provided by a particular government here would represent an additional or increase benefit of being formal. Therefore, it could be expected that the demand of to formalize would increase considerably among businesses currently operating informally. The government may also introduce an additional and relatively easy to implement measures to support the formal sector. For example, it could be introduced subsidized service vouchers, tackling one more problem, providing this during the COVID 19 crisis. As a means of payment to be used by households, would provide the economy with much needed additionally liquidity and stimulate local demand for goods and services. It would also encourage households to purchase services like cleaning, repairing, or babysitting on a declared rather than undeclared or informal basis. Governments would only subsidize those vouchers and used for formal services, providing those households operating in a formal economy with an advantage in a difficult time. As we all know, the COVID-19 pandemic is having a profound impact all over the world. It does not have to be only a negative impact, though I am grateful to have an opportunity to be a part of the effort to combine economics and its research for field experiments with a crucial, challenging socio-economic reality of the COVID-19 era in such a diverse set of countries. It's just such a combination and resulting policy options do represent one of the ways how we can make the current crisis to have a profoundly positive impact as well. Again, I am Lovely Vivian Mel, and I will leave a saying that we can do this together. And that would be all. Thank you and good afternoon.